Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you, Therese, thank you, Emmeline, and thank you, the whole CMC group, for inviting me to talk a little bit about the oceans. So basically, we are a dive operator. We are operating based out of Jakarta, but we also have branches and operations in Bali and Singapore. And we have been starting since '99, and since 2012, we have been working on our own projects for conservations. Right. Before I want to go to the next slides, I want to ask here, who loves the ocean? Can you please raise your hands? Right. Okay. Who loves going into the oceans? All right. That's cool. Right. So the planet Earth is 70% covered by the water. Right? So it's very important to support our planet Earth. And on top of it all, it's actually on the heart of the oceans, which inspires the music that you're going to be hearing soon. It's actually the coral reef. So if I can go to the next slide. So what I want to talk about is actually the shifting baseline. So if you see the picture on your right, that's the coral I used to look at 10 years ago. But the pictures on your right is actually what it looked like now. It's all white because of coral bleaching, right? So if you, next slide please. So it's all about the shifting baseline. What we see today might be different from what your children's gonna look at in the next 10 years. They're gonna think the ones on the left is actually a healthy coral. It is not. So how and what do we do to prevent that, right? So next slide, please. So since we are a training operator, this is what happened also when we look at divers underwater. So if you see, a lot of divers who are trained, they are not sustainable in their conduct. Sometimes they scrape off the bottom, sometimes they step on the corals underwater. And if you look at the top right pictures, it's actually a few divers who is installing a coral frame, but actually destroying it. So next slide, please. So yeah, at the end of the day, we believe that there are two things that Livingseas can make a difference. First of all, we want to get better diving education. We want to train and help better divers. That's why on our trips also we will have a sustainable diving practices code of conduct. And the second thing is we want to raise awareness on our coral planting projects. So next slide, please. So yeah, we are serious about conservations. From the United Nations, there are about 25 sustainable development goals. Number 14 is actually the life underwater. So we do have a framework. How do we conduct sustainable diving practices? How we do not break corals when we dive, right? So next. So we started about the projects a few years ago. This is what we do in Gili Trawangan. And then this is what we do in Malaysia. Another one. And now we have started to plant our coral reefs in Bali. So the first iteration of this project is actually using bamboo because we hope that one day the bamboo will disappear and let the coral grows. Right? Next one. The next iteration is, this is what we see a lot in Bali. A lot of our friends come in and join and actually drink some bottles, and this is what we want to do. How do we make the bottle recycle again into a coral reef? Okay, next one. So this is what we are currently doing now in Jakarta and in Bali. So we found that there is a scalable way of us doing things from small to big. We have the small spider-looking steel frames that we can attach the coral into, right? So we can put it anywhere on the reef of the island itself. So next one. And actually, what is the progress right now? If you take a look at the pictures, this is actually the corals that we tied into the steel frames. And actually, after 9 months, the corals have grown over the tie that we put. Right. So anyway, I don't want to take too much time. if you're interested to help us out, support our little project, we're making these bamboo slates that you're going to see in front, and where you can write your own name, and you can adopt a coral reef, right? So you can write your name on top of it, and we'll stick it to the steel frames that we're going to install in our sites. Then we're going to take pictures and post your name until the bamboos disappears. All right. So next one. At the end of the day, our cause is to combine two aspects. How do we train people to become a better diver, and how do we develop for coral conservation? This one. So, last slide. Our big, hairy, audacious goal, right? We do have island in Pulau Seribu, one small island, one private island, and we aim to one day can cover all the reefs in that island with the corals, right? So I think that's all from my presentation today. Enjoy the evening. Hope you like to listen, right? Thank you, Therese, again. Thank you all.